Alright, I'm putting holes in this thing. Need good drainage. Need good drainage. This is going to be my little lettuce bed. I don't know, I guess I don't want to put too many in here, but I think this will be. Okay, I'll do one more hole right there. And one more hole, and that'll be enough. Yeah, that's enough. Turn this off. Okay. Now, I wish I could find my dang, my razor knife, the one I've been splitting my bags with. I don't know what I did with that. Unless somebody come out here and help themselves to it. That's usually what happens. That's usually what happens. Now, all right. Now, let me read. Do you sow these or do you plant them in rows or what? Let's see. What it says, days to germinate, 7 to 12. Depth to sow, 1/8 of an inch. Seed spacing, 1 to 2 inch. Row spacing, 12 to 18 inch. So I guess that means you can sow these. But then you're going to have to. And by the way, this here, see that date on there? Pack for 16, sell by 12/16/2016, 5 years ago. This is the Black Seed Simpson. Let me get my cutting, my thing. Okay. Now, these seeds are tiny. Okay. Now, where am I going to put these? Kind of dab them in like grass seed, I guess. Now I think I'm gonna sprinkle a little coconut core over them. Get a little bit more. All right, I have put about a 3-hour charge on this scooter, and I'm fixing to see how far down the road it'll go before it starts doing that thing. And we'll go down there. I can see the end down there. Oh crap. We'll see. And if it makes it all right, I will come back Monday and bring me a batch of bamboo stakes. Now they got a bunch of bamboo right over there too. Yes, they do. We'll see. I'm fixing to give you my story for today too. It's kind of a sad, I don't know if it's a sad story or it is about 1951, 1952, that when my mom and dad separated, my mom took off and left me and Carolyn and George and took Michael and Joe with her. Anyway, I'll tell it in a minute. I'm gonna get down here and stop. Give this thing a rest. But this is the first time I've been out in a while. Where's the dog? How you doing? This is where I've been getting that variegated pitted sporn, but I hadn't been able to get any to do anything. Now they've got, oh okay, that's not what I thought. So far it's going just fine. So far, I believe it'll do all right. I believe it will do all right. Now, there's a sign up here that hadn't been there before. Let me see what that says it is. For sale. All right. Can y'all see the bamboo? Okay. Now I know I can make it down here. Okay, turn it off. When I'm telling my story, I kind of like, let me turn that off. Alright, guys, as I was saying, this story's about, I think it was let's see, Mama left, took off on Mother's Day of 1951. So it had to be 1951. Let me say this, divorce to me, when people get married, it should be for life. You know, it's for better or for worse, and I always believe that. And my mama, she left my dad and took all 5 of us kids with her to North Carolina. This is in Norfolk, to North Carolina, and abandoned me, Carolyn, and George at my grandma. She first tried to leave us at her mother's, but her mother wouldn't have no part of it, and she chewed Mama out. And so she took us over across town to Grandma Pearson. She kind of lived out in the country, and she wasn't going to take a chance on Grandma saying no. So what she did, we had little paper grocery bags with some of our clothes in it, and she took us, pulled up in Grandma's yard, and told us to go knock on the door and said, "I'll see you in a few days." Well, and this is like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. We went up there and knocked on the door. Grandma answered the door, and Mama and Bob, that's the man she's leaving with, took off with the 2 babies. And I didn't see her no more for a couple of years. But I used to think that didn't have any effect on me and how I thought about things and everything, but I've pretty much realized it affected my whole life. 'Cause when she left us at Grandma's, and they hopped in the car, Granddaddy had a 36 DeSoto, big old 4-door sedan. It was comfortable, lots of room in it, 36 DeSoto. And he drove that thing till 1966. So how many years is that? Or is it 46, 56? So he drove it for 30 years. He bought it new. But anyway, the next day, they jumped in the car and they took me and Carolyn, and George was just a young thing then, and they left George with Aunt Rosa May. And because he wasn't in school yet. I'm thinking, yes, he was too. I don't know why. They left him with Aunt Rosa May. And back to Norfolk we went in Granddaddy's 1936 DeSoto, him and Grandmama. And we got to the house, and Daddy was gone. And by that time, I was realizing the severity of what had happened. The family was split up. Mama was no more. And Daddy was an alcoholic. And I started realizing just how much deep doo-doo we was in. They took Daddy, well, they couldn't find Daddy. So they left him a note, and back to Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina we went. But first they had to find me, because when Daddy was there, and I was kind of hoping, I was hoping Mama was there. But of course she was already on her way to Florida. But I didn't want to leave the house. So I took off, and I went to a friend's house, and I don't guess I give my friend's mother and dad a good explanation of what was going on, but I was like, Mama's left me or something. I can't remember all the details, but I was upset. And they knew Daddy was an alcoholic. So I can't remember all the details of it now. Matter of fact, it just come back to my mind just in the last few days. But it took them, they couldn't find me till they finally my friend's, his name was Hadley. Finally his mama and Daddy went over to our apartment, our house, and Grandmama and Daddy was still there. Well, they said, well, Mackie's over at our house. So Grandma and Grandpa explained to them what was going on, and since they couldn't find Daddy, they was going to take us back to Roanoke Rapids. And that screwed everything up, because school was still going and everything, you know, but they took me back, and boy, I was upset. I was crying. I wanted Mama. And of course, that was a long time ago. Mama was everything to me. I didn't know what kind of person she was when I was that young. Turns out she wasn't a good person. And that's my mama. But I used to didn't think it affected me. But guys, I'm telling, especially you younger people, if you get married, you need to go into that with it's forever. Through the good times, the bad times. And boy, me and my wife had some rough spots. But divorce was not, that wasn't even in our vocabulary. Now, if it's an abusive relationship, you know, where it's wife beating or husband beating or just physically fighting and stuff, that's another story. But Mom and Daddy wasn't fighting. He wasn't hitting Mama that I can recall. But he would come in drunk, and she'd start fussing at him because he done spent rent money or something, you know, grocery money. And he'd get mad, and he'd start throwing things. He'd start throwing dishes. He would start turning furniture over and stuff like that till he passed out. So that wasn't a good relationship. I wish they would have just separated. She wouldn't have run off with another man and deserted us three oldest kids like she did. that still hurts to this day. But I guess what I'm saying, if you're young folks and you're married, you get in arguments and stuff, get over it. Especially if you got kids. Because what you do affects them kids too for the rest of their life. It surely does. So anyway, I guess that's my story for today, and I'm sticking to it. I'm down here at the bamboo patch. Had no problems. Now I'm going to see how it does going back. If it does fine, I'm coming down here and getting bamboo. And I may not even have to bring Jay. I don't know. I may bring Jay though. I don't want to do this by myself. Anyway, guys, I love you. That's my story. And I kind of wish I'd have made amends with my mother before she died, but I just couldn't do it. She done so many things to me. She actually hit me when I was 40 years. She was slapping me. That's the last time she hit me. Because I told her, I said, Mama, if you ever raise a hand to me again, I'm going to return the favor. And I guess she believed it. She didn't like my kids, my son and my daughter. And I don't know why, because she took a trip to Germany to see my half-brother. And she flew, and she took Jennifer with her. Jennifer got a passport and all that stuff, and she took her with her. So I never have understood that. I forget now what year that was. It was after 88. It's probably about 89. Anyway, that's my story, guys. If you get married, think about it. It's forever. It's just I just don't see how you can love someone and then all of a sudden you don't love them. What's that song? You don't love me anymore. I can't remember the name of it. But it's forever. And I was not a good, I don't think I was a good husband. But she was my lady. She died in 2007. Lord have mercy. All right, I'm getting ready to head back. We'll see how this goes.